Hello, how's everyone going? So I just wanted to jump on really quickly. I guess firstly to apologise that we haven't had our podcast as regularly as we would have liked. Takes a little bit longer to record even a 5-minute podcast, being that we want to get it right and sometimes have to do quite a few takes to get to the level that we're happy to pop that online. So it is school holidays as well, so I'll use that as my excuse. But really, we have just been really busy doing other things. So my apologies for that. If you are a subscriber or have been looking out for the next one, it will be up very soon. Hopefully, Grant's in the office, but potentially doing another one now while I'm at home with the kids. So anyway, I just thought I would jump on and just let everyone know that we're still here. We're working really hard. Obviously, the majority of our work, as per always, is within the clinic, with individual work, with couple sessions. So that takes up a huge amount of time, as everybody's work does. And as you can imagine, in the mental health sector, we are very busy, unfortunately. So I guess today I just wanted to let everybody know that you are going to be okay. That regardless of what is happening, regardless of how overwhelmed you might feel, regardless of maybe some news that you've got recently that's quite shocking, or a change that's sort of suddenly fallen into your life that you maybe didn't expect so quickly, or in the way that it's outworked, I just want to remind you that everything is going to be okay. And just to, I guess, encourage you that fear and worry, shock, grief, all of these emotions, anger, even rage, all of these emotions are actually very justifiable emotions for what you are going through. And sometimes it's actually about sitting for a couple of minutes and saying, how is it that I feel? And then once you find that particular emotional state, and you name it, it might be a few things. If it's been something that's been quite big or traumatic or that's changed again, it might be actually a few emotions that you are all feeling at once, which happens, or that they change every 25 seconds. That's okay as well. But it's about acknowledging what those emotions are and then asking yourself, how do I make sense of this? And I'm not talking about how do you make sense of the situation. There will be questions that rise for you, like, why is this happening? Or why is this happening to me? Or how can this happen? Or depending on what the situation is, different questions will rise. And as I always say in session, as you've probably heard me say, questions that rise are rising to be answered. And we actually get to find the answer that best fits for us when we don't actually have the facts to fill it in. So if you've got the facts to fill it in, that becomes your answer. But even the way that we choose to answer the questions that rise, even to the point of choosing the way the questions ask themselves, we can learn those skills to change the question and then to find an answer that is the most helpful version to silence the question. So as human beings, we do tend to err to the side of negativity when we don't know things, particularly when fear is in the way. Fear will always tell us the worst case scenario. And often, if we don't consciously and intentionally answer these questions that rise, we will usually always go to some version of a lie, some version of a fear answer. We will fall towards the side of worst case scenario. And that's a human thing. That's okay. You don't have to worry about that answer. Just know that there are different answers that actually might serve you and suit that question being answered better than that particular answer that has fallen in that space. So this is what it's about. It's about first acknowledging the emotional state, making sense of it. Why am I feeling like this? Well, actually, this has just happened. There was this news. This has been shocking. It's something that I thought would work has turned out differently. I was really hoping that this would be like this, and it's not. Now I've got to deal with that. All of these things. These are all your realities of the answer to the question of why is this happening. So sit for a moment. Answer the questions that rise in that sense. Then once you've made sense of that emotion, because nothing's crazy, nothing doesn't make sense. If you go, I don't know why, you can find the answer to why. That's one of my favorite things to help people do, is answer those questions, because they drive us crazy otherwise. And just on that, there is no crazy either. But if we don't answer these questions in a way that best serves us, we feel like we're going crazy because the question keeps circling and asking itself, and the answers that we're finding aren't fitting, or the ones that we end up finding without realizing are the negative ones that make us feel worse than when the question wasn't answered. So again, sit with these emotional states, name them, ask them a question, ask them why. How do I make sense of what I'm feeling? Once you go, actually, that does make sense. Now what? What now? What do you choose? Because you might not have chosen the outcome. You might not be responsible in any way for the thing that you are now facing, for the thing that has happened. But do you know what? It has happened. That is called acceptance. Acceptance is not, I'm okay with what happened. Acceptance is simply, it has happened. Now what? Because our only responsibility in the definition of the word responsibility is my ability to choose my response. So regardless of the situation that you find yourself in or that I find myself in, I still have the ability to choose my response. Nothing can change that. Nothing can take that away. I can choose my response. Even if within that response, it's a very small, scope of choice and control that we have over a situation happening, I still within that get to choose my response. So the emotion's real, the thoughts are real, the questions are real, the situation that you are facing is happening and it's real. But sit with the emotion, ask yourself why, make sense of it so there's no fear of the unknown, of am I just going crazy, is this okay, I don't know why this is happening, because we can't change what we don't understand. If you acknowledge that this is how I make sense of it, this is how all the dots align and join, and then this is the bigger picture, I now get to go, yep, this is happening. This is how I'm feeling. This is what my response currently is. If I'm not happy with that, in terms of if there is a better way that I think would serve me better or would help maybe push that thing in the direction I would like it now to go, regardless of where it is at the moment, I have choice and control over as much of that as within my scope of control and choice. Nothing more, but also nothing less unless I choose it. This is a choice thing. My response is a choice. And yeah, there are certainly limitations for that. You can't just go do everything. You can't just change it. You can't just fix it straight away necessarily. Sometimes there is a process and a journey through. But let me encourage you, understand your own mind. That is the number one reason people get stuck, is because they don't understand their own mind. And guess what our mind does? In trying to be helpful, it rises these questions. You haven't yet seen it, Sally. See it again. Here it is again. And we're going, please, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I just want to go to sleep. And your mind is literally saying, if you answered these questions, I would let you sleep. But you distract yourself all day. You avoid answering the question. You are not facing some of these fears. So guess what? When it's quiet at night, when you think you're asleep, I will wake you to remind you that these are left undone. Your mind is trying to help you unstick yourself from these situations, become unstuck, keep moving forward. Our mind doesn't like sitting still. So I encourage you again, no judgment. This all makes sense. The sitting in it makes sense. The being overwhelmed, it all makes sense. Every emotion that you have towards this thing that has happened makes sense. But now that you know, and if you believe what I'm saying to be true, and this is what I've found working with thousands of clients over a really long time, this stuff works. Sit with the emotion, find the question, answer the question with whatever best fits to silence the question, but to make you feel at peace. You'll go, yep, this is the answer. And there will be a peace that rests. There will be a calm that falls, maybe 5 minutes. And then the question will come back, what about? And you go, no, I've answered that already. You can have the whole process of this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Okay, here's my conclusion. This is my answer. Your mind will forget that you have answered that, and it will bring it again. And then you just go, no, this is the one-liner reminder of what the answer is that I've already done. I've done this cycle of answering every question to get to that bottom statement of truth. This is now my truth. This is my answer. Just go there. This is what I say. Do the process once. Remind yourself of the process twice. By the third time, we adjust from point 1 to point 100. We go straight there. We're not going through every single dot point again. We're not having the same conversation. We're going from 1 to the conclusion. This is the answer that I'm still having. So I encourage you, like I said at the beginning, whatever's happening, please know everything will be okay. This will all work out. You will recover. You will get through this. And there are things that you can do now, like choosing your response, that will absolutely help move you through this into wherever you would like to go. Thanks, guys.